I could get everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our flag.
Hello, I guess I'm on.
Thank you, Angie. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our November 18th regular board meeting. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. First up in our agenda here, public comment session is 2.01 public comment session. I have 4 comments here. And we'll go ahead and start with those. First name I have is Neil McCloskey.
Good evening, members of the school board. And Dr. Condon, I just want to say congratulations on a long career with the school district. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak this evening, and I appreciate your time and hearing what I have to say. My family, like I think all of ours, believes that every human being has intrinsic value and worth. My wife and I do our best to teach our children values that nurture our family and help grow our community. We respect and honor everyone's value system, and we do this with our actions, always from a place of love, respect, and charity. We've also taught our children to live by their conscience. About a month ago, my daughter, who attends Kaiser, was bullied by her peers at recess because she was not using a pronoun, mix, in referring to a teacher. She was shouted down and basically shamed because her hand was being forced to go against her value system and her conscience. She was very upset, and while explaining this to us at the dinner table, she was in tears. She said she was not comfortable calling any teacher with that pronoun. My wife and I consoled her, and we assured her that she doesn't have to refer to the teacher with a term that she is not comfortable with, and should never have to walk on eggshells or be bullied into doing something she doesn't feel comfortable doing. And we were assured that our children would not be forced to use this pronoun by the principal. But since a precedent has now been set by the staff, my daughter was effectively strong-armed into using this term by her classmates and made to feel embarrassed if she did not. She knows better than to betray her own conscience. So now my question is this: what is the board going to do to respect everyone's values and beliefs and not favor one value system or worldview over the other? My children should not have to live in fear of negative repercussions when they live up to their own values. If a policy is not established by the school district soon, then this board might continue facilitating conflict when it can and should be avoided. Please come up with a fair solution that respects the intrinsic values of all of our children and teachers alike. Otherwise, situations like this are going to continue to become commonplace. Thank you for listening to my shared concerns.
Thank you. Next comment I have is Aaron Scheppinger.
Greetings, everyone. Administrative team, board members. As always, I thank you for your time. I know your responsibilities continue to mount and your time is precious. I really wish we could move on from this topic, and I am certain the feeling is mutual. But the events of the past month, even those outlined now, have again shown that practice is contradicting the promises that have been made by the administration. So clearly we're not past this. And therefore I'm here tonight to again call for action on behalf of Kirkwood parents. We would all like this resolved so we can move forward. Last month, a number of parents came prepared to affirm a decision that the board has actually never made yet. At this point, this is more than just a title. This is about people's rights, parents' rights, kids' rights being repeatedly ignored in favor of others' beliefs and ideologies. It's an imbalance. This is not about a majority versus a minority. We're actually in a space where our government is designed to protect from the majority forcing its will on a minority. We're asking for space to allow our children to mature. We're trying to guide them through topics, not hide them from topics. There's discrimination going on, even as mentioned now. Discrimination is treating two things that are the same differently. So when we give someone specific pronouns and specific titles, that actually is discriminating. And when kids are being bullied because they don't espouse those same beliefs, who's looking out for them? Parents matter. You can ask any teacher in any district where you have unengaged parents. The students suffer and the schools suffer. The reason Kirkwood is so awesome is because of the exceptional families that make up this community. We don't need to see any families ostracized, especially not those who care so much. We would love to see schools where teachers work within their gifting, apart from personal beliefs or agendas, to teach students how to think, not what to think. It says right up there, critically and creative thinkers. We would like to see teachers work with parents as supportive partners to produce confident, secure, independent thinkers that can navigate a diverse and global society. This encompasses all personally held beliefs. Parents who wish to encourage their child's exploration of gender identity can do so in partnership with a teacher outside of the classroom. Parents that want to partner with a teacher about faith can do so outside of the classroom. There is room in public schools for everybody. Every parent that brings a child into their family cares for them and commits every bit of energy and love that they have to seeing that child flourish as a unique individual. Parents are capable of fulfilling that role in connection to their children's education as well. These mothers and fathers did not spontaneously generate as a product of society. They are fulfilling their natural role. Thank you. To quote Thomas Jefferson, I'll lastly say this: nobody is better than you, and you are better than nobody. So rightful liberty is yours within the boundaries of the equal rights of others. Please treat all parents fairly according to our natural and rightful place. Set a policy. Thank you.
The next term I have is Jason Neiman.
Good evening, board members, and thank you very much for the time. My name is Jason Neiman. I am father to a second grader at Westchester and a future student at Westchester for next year. My sister is a third grade teacher at Westchester, and I also attended Kirkwood Schools. So it goes without saying I'm a big fan of Westchester and Kirkwood Schools. But that said, I want to address a problem that's part of our school district right now, which is the pace of student growth is far faster than the build outs for our facilities. That problem could not be any more evident than at Westchester. Yeah, growth is a great thing, and every board member here, every educator in the Kirkwood Schools should be commended for that, because it's obvious that what motivates a lot of families to move to our community are the schools. So I do commend everybody here on that, and all the educators here in the crowd. However, with growth comes new needs. At Westchester, the facility needs, due to the increased enrollment, could not be more evident. We've got a fifth grade class that's big enough to fill 5 classrooms, but is crammed into 4. Certainly far pushes the classroom population beyond what I think our Kirkwood standards are. We've got the science closet materials are stored in trailers outside our kindergarten classroom. We also, students that need extra help are being pulled out into the hall because there's no room left to address those needs. So they're getting their interventional treatment in the halls, which could not be more distracting in my opinion. We've got the teacher's lounge, which has been repurposed, requiring teachers to eat lunch, pack into Dr. Ricker's office to eat lunch. And then, we're also, probably the one thing that really sticks to me is we're on the brink of eliminating the art and music classrooms and putting those on carts. I think part of the experience in elementary school is switching to those different classrooms to get that experience and to drive those creative thoughts. So losing that would be just devastating, in my opinion, to the student's experience. So this is just something that we cannot ignore. the facilities should not be what's holding back a Blue Ribbon School, and certainly not here in Kirkwood. Especially when, like a place like Westchester, we've got great kids, we've got the best educators, fantastic families that are all engaged. So facilities should not be what holds us back. It's something that just needs to be addressed immediately, not with redrawing lines or not with any other temporary means, just because that's putting a Band-Aid on the problem. It's going to become far more costly in the future. So I just encourage you to address it, and I appreciate the time and appreciate you looking at the issue. Thank you.
Actually, I have 2 more cards. I'm sorry, I have 5, not 4. The next card I have is Sean Bounce.
I thank you for this opportunity and thank you for your service. I am a father of 2 young children that attend Kaiser, and honestly, I'd rather be with them right now. I am not a public speaker or an activist, but I'm here to support my kids. I'm also here to support the individuals and groups who have been disillusioned, disrespected, and dismissed over the last several months. To the Kirkwood School Administration, you denied a reasonable or respectful solution in favor of an unnecessary title that has divided our community. You dismissed the heartfelt concerns of many parents and hid behind a mask of inclusion. And then you misled us when you promised falsely that the school district would not teach gender identity. Now the school pushes age-inappropriate reading materials in our public school libraries and hides behind a selection process that is seemingly designed to push controversial topics, not enhance our kids' learning. Words teach lessons. You cannot, with integrity, deny this further. To the board, I ask you to take action. Lift your heads and listen to the deeply convicted concerns of parents throughout the Kirkwood community, those whom you've pledged to serve. Create a policy that respects teachers and protects kids of their innocence. A policy that we can agree on to unite Kirkwood, not divide us as your inaction has done already. I hope you will look inside and reconsider. To the school staff, our kids love their schools and their teachers. Our kids love learning art and reading and math. Your teaching lays the foundation for a lifetime of learning. I thank you for these building blocks of academics. Please focus there, not your worldview, not your lifestyle, not your identity. Whatever your identity, religious, political, or gender, it should have no bearing in a public elementary school. The classroom is not designed to affirm your personal decisions. This is your private business. The public classroom is designed to teach and challenge young minds with academic, fact-based lessons in a safe, healthy environment. To the parents, and especially the students, who advocate for the dignity, respect, and value of those who perceive themselves differently, I support you. I support you as friends and neighbors, as welcome members of the Kirkwood community and school district. I support your fundamental right to a public education free from harassment or bullying. I also support your right to be free from relying on a school or a teacher or a peer to affirm your value and self-worth. I support your right to be free from others who put you into a box with mistaken kindness as simply one identity or another. It is not for me to judge, but I don't think you need their approval, nor mine. Your value and your identity is personal to you, to your family, and to your faith, just as mine is to me. To everyone in this room tonight, despite perceived differences, I hope we can all agree on that very real commonality. Thank you.
Last card is Reverend Anthony Smith.
Good evening to you all, and thank you for your service. I did not write out a statement because I wasn't initially planning to be here. I'm coming before you on 2 topics. The first has quasi been addressed, the issue of overcrowding within our schools. So for context, I have now lived in Kirkwood for 10 years, having moved here from the other side of the state. I am the parent of the class of 2012 graduate, and I see my daughter's principal over here, so class of 2020 and class of 2022 are on the horizon. The situation that we are facing within the school district is one of our own making. I have the benefit of longevity and having volunteered within the school district at various levels and on various committees. So I remember being here with the previous superintendent and creating this problem we have now by calling this a destination district and advertising people from outside of Kirkwood to move here. It is wonderful that we have so many families and people that are in Kirkwood. However, the issue is now that Kirkwood is unrecognizable. Kirkwood is unaffordable. And a lot of the families that are here are not families that will be able to sustain and be like my daughter and my son to graduate from this school. We have a $1.8 million home down the street from the high school. We don't have the infrastructure within Kirkwood to continue to have these overbuilds and things like that. And it is a school board issue. It is a school district issue because the school and the city go together in Kirkwood. And so I hope as we look at solutions that there will be some dialogue between the two. The second issue that brings me here is one I've been a long time working on within the district, and that's the issue of race and racial equity. And so as several parents have already mentioned, issues about identity and who people are and valuing everyone within our district. We are not valuing students who look like me, and at present they are less than 500 within the district. 400 of them are residential. The last time I was here was a situation with my own daughter who is a senior, but at her sophomore year was bullied horrifically that cost her an entire year of her life emotionally. She is stronger, she has survived, but we don't want this to happen to another child within the district, whether they are a child who looks like mine or a child who looks like some of the parents here who are choosing to raise their children in the way that they see fit. So as part of a member of the task force, I am asking that we actually do something and we not just meet to just talk and talk and talk about the issues of race, lack of diversity within the teaching staff, and actually lack of diversity within the administration. The last thing that I would like to say is a recommendation that each of you buy this book and read it. I've already recommended the book to Dr. Shonda Phillips, that it would be sent. So this is my recommendation, and that you actually do something so that the children are thriving, that they not become another little token program of Kirkwood School District. Thank you.
Concludes our public comment session. On the agenda 2.02, approval of our agenda for the November 18th regular meeting. This is an action item.
Approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval of our agenda for this evening. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Next up, 2.03 awards and honors report. Did you, Kate?
We have a special guest with us tonight. I'd like to introduce our senior principal, Jeff Townsend. He's going to bring us some of his outstanding students.
Thank you, Ginger. Board of Education. Good evening. My name is Jeff Townsend. I'm the senior class principal at Kirkwood High School. This evening, I have the pleasure of introducing a group of seniors that have achieved at the highest level academically, recognized by the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. Before I introduce these fine students, I'd like to first recognize and thank the parents for sharing your students with us. No one understands that your efforts and guidance are valued, and we appreciate the support that you provide these young people. Every year, 1.5 million juniors take the PSAT in the fall, entering them into the National Merit Scholarship Program. The following students are recognized as commended students, placing them in the top 3% of all student scores. I would like to introduce and congratulate on this side, Madeline Barton, Evan Richmond, and Benji Wilton. And And the next group of students are recognized as National Merit Semifinalists, scoring them in the top 16,000 students of 1.5 million and the top 1% of all scores. I'd like to introduce and congratulate the following: Raiden Decoder, Nathan Dimitri, Gillis Lowry, Ethan Peter, and Grace Williams. Just a few final words. It's certainly an honor to be here. It's an honor to work for the district. It's an honor to be a member of this community. You know, as an outsider, I don't live here, but I feel like I've been here. This is my 24th year in education, and this is my second round of going through these students. They are the finest, and my class of 2020 is the finest that I have seen come through, and they're awesome. They know that I love them, and they're beyond academians. They do tons of activities and are very involved. And so I'd like to congratulate them again and give them one last final round of applause.
We'll go out and take a picture, but yeah. You guys would like, the board would like to stick your words and the superintendent?
I know a lot of you from NYFIR, and I'm just so proud of you that you've come this far and that you've accomplished so much. And I just know that there is so much ahead of you. And I just think you have every opportunity available to you, and I know that you're going to do great things. So when I retire, I'm going to be watching for you and keeping an eye on you and making sure that you live to your potential, because you have awesome.
Very impressive. Thank you guys. I know you put a lot of time, effort, hard work, and we want to tell you that we are so proud of the work that you put in. So proud of you for all your efforts. So thanks so much for everything that you do.
Students want to go through and shake the board members' hands, and then we'll go out this door. Parents are welcome. You'll come out. Oh, you're blocked. Okay, sorry. I didn't see that.
We can loop around.
They're gonna loop around. Loop around. And then we'll go out. Parents, if you want to come with me, and then Dr. Condon will complete our awards and honors report.
So we're to go now.
They're not taking it.
We already went through.
Thank you. Back here, they're all like Dana and Ross. I have the honor of taking over awards and honors while our students are having their pictures taken. On Friday, Westchester Elementary School was recognized in Washington, D.C. as having received a blue ribbon, which is an amazing honor. And here with us tonight is Representative Deb Lavender, who has a presentation for our Westchester representatives. So can we have our Westchester representatives come forward to the podium? We have our Christie principal, assistant principal, teacher.
Thank you for the opportunity to be with you. I'm State Representative Deb Lavender. I serve as District 90. One of the first opportunities I had in an elected capacity was to go to North Glendale with our current Governor Nixon to award them their blue ribbon. So it is with great honor that I am here tonight to appreciate Dr. Richter and his staff with a resolution from the State House. Whereas the members of the Missouri House of Representatives hold in high esteem those Show Me State educational institution that diligently provides students with the opportunity to attain the knowledge, skills, and experiences necessary to become lifelong learners and future social leaders. Whereas Westchester Elementary School, located in Kirkwood School District, has been named a 2019 National Blue Ribbon School, the most impressive accolade to be bestowed upon it by the United States Department of Education. And where you've been to Washington, D.C. at Gaylord National Resort and Convention Center just recently. You are one of 362 schools nationwide, including 8 here in Missouri, to earn the status of National Blue Ribbon School, an award that honors schools whose students achieve at very high levels or who have made significant progress. Whereas the coveted National Blue Ribbon School Award affirms the hard work of educators, families, and communities in creating safe and welcoming school where students master challenging and engaging content. Now, in its 37th year, the National Blue Ribbon Schools program has bestowed recognition on more than 9,000 schools nationwide. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Missouri House of Representatives 100th General Assembly, join to applaud the well-deserved selection of Westchester Elementary School as a 2019 Blue Ribbon School by the U.S. Department of Education, and convey to all of those within this legislative body the most heartfelt best wishes for continued personal and academic success.
Oh, that's a close-up.
You know.
Wait, one more.
One more. Awesome.
Thank you.
Could I ask if we had all of the Westchester staff and parents who are present here with us tonight stand up so that we can recognize you? Thank you all. And I know Dr. Peter was present in Washington, D.C. for that event on Friday. Congratulations to everyone that's involved in honor. We had several celebrations of Veterans Day here in Kirkwood in our schools. On Monday, last Monday, the 11th of November, North Kirkwood Middle School conducted a tribute to veterans in the library. Kirkwood High School welcomed veterans into social studies classrooms where they shared their military experiences with their students. All elementary schools held events and welcomed veterans. Students paid tribute to veterans through singing songs, reading poems, and writing personalized letters. Also, we want to recognize the Kirkwood High School class of 2019 who received a composite score of 24.4 on the ACT, which is a bump in the score from the previous year. The year before, the class had, the students had earned a composite score of 24. All of our students are provided the opportunity to take the ACT test, so this is quite an accomplishment to raise that score this year. So congratulations to all of our hardworking students at Kirkwood High School. North Kirkwood Middle School has 5 band students that have been selected to join the All Suburban Band. North Kirkwood Middle School students auditioned for the All Suburban Honor Concert Band at a competition held at Clayton High School. On October 28th, over 500 students from the St. Louis area tried out for this ensemble. 5 band students from North Kirkwood Middle School were selected to the All Suburban Band. Those students are Beckett Whitworth, Elizabeth Myers, Levi Rowan, Sharon Worth, and Bailey Roche. Also, former Kirkwood High School student athlete recognizes Ramona Miller with an Extra Yard Teachers Award. Jordan Roundtree, who attended Kirkwood High School, graduate of the class of 16, nominated Kirkwood High School Assistant Principal Ramona Miller for the Extra Yard Teachers Award from the College Football Playoff Foundation, which provides recipients of the award with a $10,000 grant for classroom and school supplies. Jordan is now a junior at the University of Missouri-Columbia and a guard for the women's basketball team. Last season, she appeared in all 35 games and averaged 4.3 points and 2.9 rebounds per game. In speaking about Miller, Jordan shared how Miller helped her set her up for success at Kirkwood High School. She really took me under her wing when I was new at Kirkwood High School, said Jordan. She made sure I had a place to eat. She made sure I had friends and that I got accustomed to the new school. She was just always someone I could go to, whether in school or out of school, to make sure I had an amazing time at Kirkwood High School. Ramona Miller has served as a teacher and administrator in Kirkwood for 27 years. She plans to use the $10,000 grant toward enhancing experiences in pioneer pathways, especially in the area of science, which was Ms. Miller's content area prior to becoming an administrator. Also, North Glendale held a track dedication ceremony on Friday, November 8th. The track was dedicated to Todd Benben. Benben had served as the North Glendale principal from 2006 until his retirement in 2018. The accessible running track was made possible by the fundraising efforts of North Glendale's PTO. Also, Westchester received another recognition for providing positive behavior supports. Westchester Elementary School received the Missouri School-Wide Positive Behavior Support Gold Award of Recognition. The award recognizes schools that have successfully adopted and implemented PBIS, a comprehensive approach for improving student behavior and academic performance. Schools are awarded recognition at a variety of levels, gold, silver, or bronze, which represents the extent of their implementation of the school-wide positive behavior support strategies. At a recent Special School District Governing Council meeting, Westchester Principal Bo Ricker and Kirkwood School District Board Member Julie Backer were presented a framed certificate. Westchester is one of a select few number of schools in the county who have won state recognition for at least 10 years. School-wide positive behavior support is a systematic approach to creating a safer and more effective schools by structuring the learning environment to support academic and social success of all students. Congratulations again to Westchester. That's all for our boards and honors.
Thank you very much, Dr. Godwin. Thank you, Ms. Case. Dr. Ricker, well done. Well done. Thank you to you and your staff. Next up is our consent agenda. We do have one change.
Jordan, I'd like to make a motion to remove from the personnel consent agenda one item, the new chief HR officer and director of benefits. July 1st, 2020. The board just has some questions.
So we would like to approve our consent agenda with that one change. 3.01, approval of minutes for our October 21st regular meeting. 3.02, approval of minutes for our October 21st closed meeting. 3.03, approval of vouchers payable. 3.04, approval of personnel items. 3.05, approval of network infrastructure project change order. 3.06, permission to seek bids for our new dump truck. This is an action.
Move approval.
Second, new microphones.
I have a motion and a second for approval of our consent agenda. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Next up, unfinished business. 4.01, enrollment growth recommendations. Dr. Condon.
Thank you. We have a presentation that we'll be bringing up. I wanted to provide some feedback. We engaged in the process of seeking community input on a few options that became available that were developed after work with the consulting firm Cooperative Strategies. The
Clicking, click it. I'll just click it.
we utilized a process called thought exchange, where the ideas were presented to our community members, parents, and staff, and then we received feedback, and then others who participated were able to comment on that feedback. So when we went in and we were able to look at some of the comments and affirmations that were made for the comments, several themes emerged. And so I've listed those out here. One resounding theme that was most prominent was the fact that our community does not feel that fifth graders should be moving to middle school. That came out resoundingly. Also, our community believes that secure entrances should be provided at all of our schools and safety improvements emphasized. Increasing class sizes should be avoided. That came through loud and clear on our community feedback. Also, our community believes that we should maintain high quality education that we currently provide for our students in the district. There was positive responses to our conversion of these spaces that we sit in right now, Administrative Services Center, to provide additional classroom space for North Kirkwood Middle School. And there were also comments and several affirmations about making sure that we utilize transparency during the entire process of whatever route that we go. Other themes that emerged, there were varied opinions about changing elementary school boundaries, attendance boundaries. Some people were not in favor of that, and others felt like if the benefits were provided, that was an option that we could pursue. There were suggestions to address the Tillman split and the NIFER attendance boundaries. There were some concerns about elementary and school enrollments that are racially and socioeconomically equitable. So I think that came up when redistricting possibilities came up, and that was a concern that many folks felt that we should address. There were also concerns about eventual enrollment increases at Kirkwood High School, the possibilities of needing to add space there. There were many requests for more information regarding the costs of any of these options. And there was also an interest in our continuing to examine the long-term effects of all of these options, specifically related to enrollment and budget. So from those responses, we developed 2 additional options that I wanted to provide to everyone. One we're calling the blue option. This option includes adding on to elementary schools, including Westchester, Robinson, and Kaiser, adding on to NIFER, and converting the Administrative Services Center to classrooms for North Kirkwood Middle School, exploring the adding of some classrooms at Kirkwood High School, constructing secure entrances at the Kirkwood Early Childhood Center, North Glendale, and Kirkwood High School. These are the only facilities that don't have secured vestibules at this point. In addition, constructing a gym and a library at Tillman Elementary School, and seeking retail space or potential partnerships to relocate the Administrative Services Center. The second option is what we're calling the green option. This came up through some of the comments on Thought Exchange, and that would include building a K-5 elementary school on the Lindeman site, which is the land that the district has owned for many years. Constructing those secure entrances at Kirkwood Early Childhood Center, North Glendale, and Kirkwood High School. Explore adding additional classrooms at Kirkwood High School. Constructing a gym and library at Tillman Elementary. Converting Administrative Services Center to classrooms for North Kirkwood Middle School, and seeking additional space or potential partnerships to locate the Administrative Services Center. So next steps, we wanted to provide the opportunity for our Board of Education to have some conversations about what lies ahead of us and the potential steps that we might take. December 2nd, in 2 weeks from now, is our board workshop. So that'll provide us an opportunity for our board to discuss these options. We will also be providing operational costs for each of these options so that we can make an informed decision moving forward. Provide fund balance projections that could also provide some information about decision making, and discuss potential timelines available for each of those options. That with the end goal of making a final decision about how to move forward at our next board meeting, which is December 16th. Questions from our board members or comments?
I just have a comment. I think we've seen it all through our numbers, our growth, that it is, we need to make a decision. We need to do something for our kids, and I'm hopeful that when we go on the December 2nd, that we can really talk through all of the decisions that we've come up with and really kind of hone down what our plan will be. But I feel that it's time and we have to make a decision pretty soon. So thank you for the report tonight.
I'll just add, I appreciate the refinement of the options in light of the community feedback, and obviously in preparation to make December 2nd as effective as it can. Any work that can be done to make those three bullet points there in terms of additional information as concrete as possible would be certainly appreciated by myself.
Yes, and I also, just the capacity estimates as well. I think that might be a part of that, of each option. And that will help us in our decision making. Thank you.
Board docs page, sorry.
All right, any other questions, comments from the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to our agenda 4.02, Siemens update on energy audit. That's Mr. Microbank.
Yes, I want to introduce Greg Williams. He's got a team that has been working on the energy audit, and he's gonna give you an update on that.
Hey there. Hi, guys. Dr. Condon, congratulations. It's been a pleasure getting to know you over the last few years, so congratulations on flying off into the sunset again. So hope you enjoy it. All right. You got that book there. There's a lot of, I'm better at, do I need to talk into the microphone? Okay. Sorry, I have a very loud voice. So there's a lot of information on here that I'm going to fly through a lot of it, mainly because it's pretty granular stuff and not really needing to take up an additional hour to 2 hours of your time to go through it all. Nothing. So we will go through this as well as we can. There we go. So a few of the topics that we'll talk about is our process, the infrastructure condition assessment. We'll go over a little bit of the information from there. And then we will move on to the recommendations and schedule section of the show here. We've been working for the last, I would say, 6-7 months on getting through each of the buildings, looking at each of the pieces of mechanical equipment and looking at the different architectural elements of the building, trying to get a basic understanding of the condition of each of the buildings and how we can potentially affect that, right? Whether it be from an operational or maintenance standpoint, but also from an infrastructure condition standpoint. So our planning process is called IPEX, Infrastructure Performance and Execution. Basically what we do is we try to go through this in a data-driven way to bring results that are focused on customer service and service standards within the schools. So what we've done is a number of different things. We're not going to go through each one of them. We've been through different workshops at different levels within buildings and also within the facilities department. We've gone through an infrastructure condition assessment. We've looked at every building, every piece of equipment within these buildings. We've assigned a risk assessment to it, as in what is the chance of failure and what is the risk of that failure have on the service standards of the school. We looked at useful equipment life analysis. We are still in process of determining the energy and operational analysis. And we've gone through a workshop with the facilities group, and also Mike's gotten a high level on some of the recommendations and different facility improvement measures that we're making. So the first piece here is to look at the infrastructure condition, and basically what we do is we group each building into 8 different categories, and then each line item is assessed to its condition, performance, risk of failure, and impact of failure, and then the age and life expectancy of those pieces of equipment. We look at everything from architectural elements within the building, whether it be ceiling grids, floors, etc., down to electrical services, envelope, building envelope, fire and life safety, HVAC, etc. So we go through each one and assess the buildings, and this is basically what it looks like. So try and read it all. Each building need is identified by each category, and then it's quantified by the color of each slice within the chart. Now, it's really hard to get a real solid feel for this, mainly because you look at all the yellow and the orange and you think, wow, that's really bad. It's really not. That's kind of midway or part of the way through their life. Green is brand new or new, and red is critical at this point when it comes to the infrastructure and operations of it. So we go through each building, and then we look at different pieces of equipment, and we try and group them together as best we can as far as getting those pieces of equipment kind of categorized as far as performance. And there's one other page here, actually, which is Huff, KCC. We can't leave them out, but I ran out of page on the other one. I ran out of space. The next piece that we looked at is we looked at a mechanical assessment from each building. And we are not going to go through each one of these, but just to show that we've assigned a new naming convention, and we are showing different conditions of each piece of mechanical equipment within each school. So they are graded as critical need, 5 to 10 years, and then 10 to plus years as far as needing replacement. Let me go through each one of these here. If you want me to go through each one, I can, but that would be really not good.
So every building has rooftop units that are
Rooftop unit, yeah. Rooftop, we looked at rooftop units, we looked at air handlers, we looked at boilers, chillers, we looked everywhere. We're all over the mechanical rooms of these buildings, and still are all over the mechanical rooms of these buildings. So we look at each building, we look at each piece of equipment, we assign a grade to it, and that helps us to prioritize facility improvement measures down the road. Okay. Told you a lot of them. We conducted a utility analysis based on CVEX, which is Commercial Buildings Energy Consumption Survey. The district is currently operating at about 18% higher than buildings of like use. So there's a good amount of room for improvement on that. The next one, we looked at each building as far as both the energy use index, energy intensity index, and from a dollar per square foot index. So there are, as you can see up there, a couple of buildings that really need a lot of work as far as energy work. Kirkwood High School, North Middle, and the Early Childhood Center, shockingly, are 3 of the ones that showed the most amount of use or the most amount of work that could be done. The high school is even more important considering it uses probably 90% of the overall power for the district. That's an exaggeration on the 90%, but it's really high since we're on the record. We have come through with a number of facility recommendations by engineer Carrie Herr, also a Kirkwood parent. Thank you. He's made a number of these recommendations. We break it down by building, and then we also kind of try and work it into a phased type of a plan so we don't just smash it all in at one time. So this next slide is what we would call our facility improvement matrix. As soon as it hits. Nope. Yep. Sorry, the next slide after this one is. Phase 1 is our operational and energy plus high risk exposure As of right now, we do not have a full estimate of cost or a full estimate of savings. We are still working on a lot of the scope. Once we take this scope and really refine it, we'll be able to provide that guaranteed cost and those guaranteed savings numbers. So these are the phase 1 recommended facility improvement measures. On the infrastructure, high failure risk rooftop unit replacements, there's a number of them. The ones that we've categorized as red are either failing, close to failing, or are at the end of their useful life and no longer are going to have refrigerant attached to them for very long. Unit cleaning, coating, and refurbishment, which should bring those ones. Yes, question. Yeah.
Do you know how many we have?
Total, anywhere between 60 and 80. We could probably stretch some of them and drop some of them down to 40, but it's still in that 60 to 80 number as being critical. Unit cleaning, coating, and refurbishment, air handler and boiler replacements and air handler replacements, the different areas that are at the end of their useful life. And then when you look at the energy and operational side, interior and exterior LED retrofit, we're going to provide a number of different options, both brand new fixtures, just a retrofit where you throw new LED lamps in there. So we're going to improve the lighting quality. Building envelope and weatherization work. So we're going to tighten up the building so that there's not as much air pulling out of them. Power factor correction specifically at the high school. Insulation roof replacements and repairs that are generally coinciding with rooftop unit replacements. Walk-in and cooler, freezer improvements. There's some control systems that you can put on these different things, plus insulation that there's a lot of power just exiting out of there. Expansion of the building automation system, pool chemical reduction, which is a really cool thing. I look forward to talking to you guys about that one a little bit more. Outdoor air and volatile organic compound reduction. There's a piece of equipment that we could put on the different rooftop units that reduces the amount of air that you have to pull in from the outside. And then a different type of a thing, it's a data analytics program called Enlighted that we're looking at putting on top of the LED retrofit as well. So we're looking at a number of different indoor environmental enhancements, a lot of operational benefits. We're still putting these numbers together, but it's pretty exciting stuff. There's our matrix. We wanted to talk really quickly about measurement verification, just to kind of go over really quickly that the calculations that we go about when we do measurement verification, they're all standardized by the IPMVP protocol, is what it is. And it's an international protocol. And we go through these options for calculation on measurement and verification with the district during our measurement and verification workshop. So we go through each different facility improvement measure, we show the calculations for the savings, and then we show our work. It's like geometry class. We have to do the proofs, only much easier when you have an engineer to do it for you. So we will go through each of those calculations during the workshop. We'll talk a little bit about enhanced performance assurance. One of the dashboards that we're bringing to the district with this is M&V performance tracking, but it also goes in with district-wide dashboards, which show energy analysis, cost analysis, year-over-year usage, but also this information is going to be downloadable by the students, right? So the students will have access to these dashboards so they can do real-life problems and data collection analysis with the data that's going to be provided here. And it also provides reporting support for Energy Star and LEED, if that's the direction that we go. In line with that, we have a number of different STEM initiatives that we're going to be bringing to the table. Our Empower program, which is basically our grant money and seed funding, which allows us to enhance or bring enhanced curriculum or enhanced program and funding to the district. We conduct STEM days where we come out and we bring engineers, we bring technicians, we talk about wind energy, we talk about solar energy. It's a lot of fun. It brings a lot of different, a lot of attention to the district. And then localized STEM initiatives, things like Fuse Studios, our Power Save Advantage program, which I'm actually going to talk about, I think, next. Green Schools Quest, we've been involved with the Green Schools Quest for a long time. Super proud of that one. Oh, there she is. Fellow Green School Quester. Bringing STEAM and sustainability to our community. This is a big piece of what we're trying to do is have that ability to bring our resources to the district, whether it's us teaching about energy, teaching about sustainability, teaching about conservation. This is us actually in the schools doing this right now. We are moving forward and enhancing this as well. So as we continue the partnership, we'll increase the amount of access to programs like these. And I'll bring this up here. Continuing partnerships, we've established a sustainability team at North Glendale. We are commencing on a conservation and recycling program there. We are going to begin energy auditing classroom sessions with the different schools. So our engineer is going to be doing these classroom sessions to show how to go home and audit your home, but also audit a commercial building too. It's really cool. And then wind energy, solar energy, and conservation classroom sessions. And I just like a lot of pictures. And because I can't really press the button. Power Save Advantage, I will brush really quickly on this. This is something that we're looking to implement in 2021. Basically what it is, it's a competition amongst the different schools. That we, as a partner, we pay a stipend to a teacher within the building to be the team leader for this. And then we train the students to be an advocate for energy and energy behavior modifications. And then we reward that behavior within the schools themselves. The roadmap on this is really there's 12 benchmarks that we work with the students, lesson plans, student-led activities, and then the students have to come out and present their findings and their results to the board or to their administrative team. So it kind of helps with talking in front of people, which is important. And then all of these lesson plans are correlated with Common Core and Next Generation Science Standards. So these are things that are actually useful, which is great. I think that might be pretty darn close to being ahead. Development process, oh yeah. So we are at the end of the detailed audit. We've conducted surveys, we've collected data. At this point, we're really in the scope refinement time where we're gonna be refining all of this information for you and providing costs and savings estimates. And then at the end, we're talking about implementation and performance assurance after that. And we are going to be working with Mike and the district with the roadmap moving forward. Next steps, we are looking at finalizing the scope and costs in December to bring to the board in January for approval at that point. We are able to get this stuff substantially complete, phase 1 at the end of August this year. Because we move very fast when it comes to this. Questions?
Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. First of all, we've been looking for a comprehensive district-wide program like this for a long time, and I think having a district-wide program instead of piecemealing this together is phenomenal. I'm blown away, actually, and I'm really appreciate the fact that you're involving the students in the district as well. And I just want to personally thank you for the volunteering that you've done at Kirkwood High School over the years with the Green School Quest. I don't know if all of you know that he volunteers his time up at the high school and has for years, and they usually win. So,
yeah. Well, they win despite me. They're amazing students, and I just really quickly, while we're still on the record, these kids that were standing up here, they're the kids that I want my kids to look up to. So, like those guys are the important ones, and you guys have a school full of them over there.
Absolutely. So. Thank you. And I'll be interested to hear a little bit more about your measurement and verification program, because I do think those are the kinds of things that the community will end up asking us, like, well, how do you know that's how much you'll save? And like, so I'll be interested to hear about that next time around. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes. Can we go back just one slide with the timeline?
Sure.
Just, okay. Just let us look at this for a second.
So just about the timeline also, you'll make the recommendations in January, you said, and then whatever those might be, they'll be implemented by the end of August.
Correct.
So then you'll have all the estimates and the savings.
Everything will be done by then.
So
everything will be done by January, like for all of the cost estimates, all of the guaranteed amounts will be done.
Great, so you're just giving us an update today.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. That's
You're
great.
welcome. I'll make that next meeting shorter.
Mike, can you, Mike, can you remind us at the end of this, when we approve the recommendations, we have to approve and implement all of them? Or how does that work from?
We don't have to implement all of them, but that will be something that we'll have to spend some time on, looking at all the recommendations, the cost benefit of it, and then picking certainly the ones that are going to generate the most savings, but as many as we can, and then there will be a timeline. Some of these things may be phased in over 2 or 3 years. Some of the work.
And so when it says board meeting to approve phase 1, so when it comes to us, we have to approve it then?
Well,
Or I'm just trying to
we'll
understand
probably
how
have to
we
do. My guess is we would have a workshop between now and the time that the board approves something to go through those recommendations, so that, because there probably won't be enough time to go through all of it at a board meeting.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams, thank you so much. I echo what Julie was saying earlier. We looked around sometime to try to find a program, and originally when Mike May brought it us, I was thinking, oh yeah, the cost savings is really nice, but the comprehensive plan and bringing in our kids and what the work you do with the Green School, the volunteer work, all of the plan that comes along with the cost savings, it's really just as important. So thank you so much for all the work that you're doing.
Yes, sir. My pleasure. All right. Thanks, Tim. Thanks much.
Next up in our agenda tonight, 5.01 financial reports and budget amendment. Mr. Mike Revere.
Our operating revenues in October were $1,203,000, and that mainly consists of Prop C revenues, which were $434,000. Earnings from investments, $222,000. Food service revenue, $135,000, and then state revenue, $344,000. Our operating expenditures in October were $5,675,000, and most of that is salaries and benefits. Budget amendments, we did not have any revenue amendments in October. We had a few expenditure transfers in October, but overall they did not increase the budget. It's recommended that the budget amendments be approved.
This is an action item.
Approval.
I have a motion and a second to approve the financial reports and budget amendments. Any questions for Mr. Romay? Hearing none, again, a motion and a second for approval of the financial reports and budget amendments. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. Next up, new business, 6.01, launching of our 2020-2021 school calendar. Cindy Nelson.
That sounds like a long time away, doesn't it? It isn't. So the calendar committee is comprised of administrators, we have a board representative, parents, and teachers. We, for the second year in a row, were challenged with some new legislation here in the state of Missouri. So this year, the legislation changed and removed the local board authority to waive the 14-day prior to Labor Day, start of school. So now we are restricted that the earliest day we can start school is August 24th of 2020, which presents us with some challenges. The very first thing the committee did this year was set our priorities for establishing the school calendar and the layout. And those we established 4. The first one is to end the first semester by winter break. We heard very loud and clear that our students need a break, and they need winter break to be done with midterms and have a true break from academics. We heard that in our comprehensive wellness plan and in other sorts of feedback that we've collected. The second, ending the school year prior to Memorial Day and not attending school in June is really important to our students, particularly those who are getting ready to graduate. You have to graduate by the end of June in the state of Missouri to count as a graduate for that school year. So anytime we encroach upon the month of June, lessens the opportunities that kids have to recover credit. Starting school midweek for elementary students, we heard very resoundingly from our elementary experts that starting school midweek allows for two things for students. One, a smoother transition back to school after the summer break. And those, we have over 400 kids every year who have their first day of school with us. So that's a big transition for them. Secondly, they need time to adjust some of the programming that we spend a lot of time in the spring preparing for, and really until the kids come, you just don't know what's going to happen that first day. So having 3 days with kids and then a break to adjust as necessary is really important. And then balancing the number of first and second semester days is very important for our semester-long classes. That typically is only at the secondary level, but still, nonetheless, it's important to balance those days out. The proposed calendar has a few notable dates. First of all, the first day of school for secondary schools is proposed to be Monday, August 24th for middle and high school. Utilizing the earliest possible start date allows for more balanced semester days and allows for the first semester to be finished before winter break. The first day of school for elementary would be Wednesday, August 26, 2020. Beginning school midweek allows for smoother transition back to school and opportunities for support and program adjustments for our students. There will be no school on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020, because it is a presidential election. And last year when we surveyed our parents, they gave us overwhelming feedback that we should be closed that day for the safety of our students. Winter break would begin Wednesday, December 23rd, and school would resume Wednesday, January 6th. The last day of school would also be an early dismissal day for students and would be May 27th, 2021. Staff development days have been included in the calendar and will include 2 full staff development days and 4 half staff development days. This evening is the first reading of the calendar. It is lodged, and we will come back December 16th for approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Cindy, I'm trying to write quickly, but you said the first day of school will be Monday, August 24th for secondary.
Correct.
Then what would freshman day be, that Friday, the first day for freshmen?
I believe it's the Thursday before.
So they would go to school the Thursday before,
They would have their preview day Thursday.
Okay.
Off Friday, and then start school on Monday.
Okay, and then because I was writing down when the first day for secondary was, I missed what you said. When the
For elementary?
Right.
Wednesday, the 26th.
Okay. That's a departure from anything we've done in the past. So.
It is. Unfortunately, the new legislation kind of pushed us to really determine what the priorities are with scheduling. And some of the feedback that we received was there are so many back to school events for elementary parents that could you use that day, first or second day before school starts to collapse some of those events and have a more consistent elementary event for each school. And so if there aren't a curriculum night, a meet the teacher night, a back to school night. So that was some of the feedback that we received that we're trying to address.
I think it's an interesting, I think it'll be fine. Thank you.
I just, one question I had was about your spring break, because this legislation that has gone through is really not advantageous for us.
No.
Most of the rural districts pushed it through this year, and in spite of our protesting, it went through. So everything's affected by it, like you're saying. And so then is your spring break also changed? It looks like it might be later than it was before.
It's about a week later. We met among school districts in late July, and one of the really things that we spoke about was creating a common spring break, because we have so many staff members that have children in other districts. That creates a real hardship for some of our staff who are also parents. So we all decided that would be our common spring break, which is about a week later than we normally would have.
Okay, and I just have one more comment. To be sure and look at how it affects our district, because I would very much like to have evidence that whether it's positive or negative, at least we have something that we can share with legislators. Where's Deb Laver? She left.
Yeah, so I have a comment too, and I've shared this with you before, but I still have a hard time wrapping my head around the half day on May 7th, and why that can't be moved till after the kids are released. That's just strikes me as a difficult day for people who have don't have the luxury of a stay-at-home parent.
Sure. We did, last year, we went from 7 half days to 4 half days, I believe it was, after feedback from parents. And this year, we're actually taking a full staff development day and turning it into a half day because we know that those days off can be troublesome for working parents. The May day is, according to our professional development committee, that is the last day for building goals in the year, and the half days are usually designated for building improvement goals. So that would be like their wrap-up day for the year with their goals and the data and benchmarking and everything that they're reviewing for the year. I get that the timing is not awesome. It's we really struggled to get those days calendared and to have enough days.
I appreciate you have really reduced those days quite a bit. So I mean, everything is relative, I suppose. But I know I appreciate that you've worked pretty hard on that, and that this is pretty much probably the bare bones of what you can do. So thank you.
And we would really love the legislation to go back.
Yeah, well,
have any friends?
I wouldn't hold my breath.
I wouldn't hold my breath.
I'll put you back to this
On the record.
And Cindy, and thank you for your work with the new legislation, and I know it creates challenges. I had 2 concerns. I want to echo what Mark talked about on that last half day in May, just the timing, the end of the year. But however, I heard what you said about having different start days for middle school and elementary school. I just really struggle with the rationale behind that. And the confusion for parents and everything. And so I would ask, do other school districts do it? I mean, do we have more than just teachers in elementary school who didn't want to start on Monday? I just can't jump on board yet on that.
Sure. Part of it is sometimes we talk about the gift of time. And in May, when we do class placements for students, we do the very best that we have with the information that we have. And sometimes you just don't know until the kids come. And 5 days versus 3 days before you can make an adjustment to whether it's scheduling for IEP services, whether it's placements in classes, and maybe you have children that you need to separate that you didn't anticipate may feed off each other. Sometimes it's the gift of time that our teachers and administrators need to really kind of retool the first 3 days of school. It's like a soft start compared to a full-blown first week. And our kids are exhausted. And we hear that a lot too.
So why, but then why not start the whole district on?
Because at the secondary level, the semester-long classes, they would be more imbalanced if we started everybody on Wednesday, as opposed to giving them 2 more days to try to equal out those semesters a little bit more.
So I think we should all start on the same day, so that's fine.
I'm used to freshman May.
Well, just for elementary parents.
All right, thank you guys. We'll get ready to move on. I just want to say, I took a look at the people on this committee, and there's a lot of amazing people that I trust their knowledge and input on this committee. So thank you guys for your hard work. Thank you for your effort. I know you put a lot of time in coming up with this calendar, so thank you so much. To the board, this is an action item to lodge.
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to lodge the 2020-2021 school calendar. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, guys. Next up, 6.02, permission to seek bids for virtual server environment. Allison, Thomas.
Good evening. Kirkwood School District has 2 data centers, each of which provides failover to the other. These data centers house all on-site data, including virtual servers, teacher data, finance and communications office data as well. It is critical that we have a reliable system with reliable backups. One data center is at Huff and the other is at Kirkwood High School. In 2017, the district replaced a network area storage device that was over 10 years old. Most of the remaining equipment utilized for these purposes is 8 to 11 years old and should be replaced. Through this process, we will determine if the current architecture is the most efficient, as well as take advantage of free and/or paid cloud storage options, such as Google Drive, if appropriate. I'd like to request permission for the Board of Education to seek bids for updating this equipment and its related software. If approved, I would like to present bids and a recommendation to the Board of Education in the next few months, dependent upon how much time is required to assess the current architecture and needs.
This is an action item.
Second.
The motion and a second to approve permission to seek bids for the virtual server environment. Any questions for Al? Hearing none. Okay, the motion and second to seek bids for the virtual server environment. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Next up, 6.03, approval of audio-visual system at Robinson. Allison, go.
The audiovisual system in the gym at Robinson Elementary is over 12 years old. This system began having issues and suddenly failed in September of this year. 2 separate vendors examined the system and arrived at the same conclusion that the system was obsolete and irreparable at a reasonable cost. Since the system is used daily for classroom and learning, since this system is used daily for classroom learning, it is being interrupted, as well as for special events during the school day and in the evening. It was determined that the system should be replaced on an emergency basis. An outside firm had to be brought in to assist with the annual Veterans Day program last week. A request for bids was sent to 6 vendors. 4 of these vendors attended an on-site walkthrough of the gymnasium and took detailed information. Surprisingly, only 1 vendor submitted a bid. The Director of Technology Services contacted the vendors who attended the walkthrough but did not send bids to ask if there was a reason. 2 of these vendors responded, one indicating that they forgot about the deadline and the other indicating that they did not feel they could provide the service that we were seeking while reusing some of the existing equipment as requested. The proposed system reuses some of the equipment that is still viable. It also provides many improvements requested by the principal, music teachers, and PE teachers to enhance student learning and quality of audio during performances. The Director of Technology Services recommends moving forward with the bid from Tech Electronics and the amount of $21,070 with a 10% contingency in the event of unforeseen needs for a total of $23,177.
Thank you, Allison. For the board, any questions for Allison? Hearing none, so this is an action item.
Well, were you surprised by that cost?
It was a little, it was within our range of what we expected.
I'm sorry, who approved? Who motioned?
I'll move. Oh, no, I think she has moved and Mark. Yeah, that's right.
I didn't have my mic on my phone.
You mumbled it and you didn't even say.
All righty, so any other questions for Allison? Hearing none, a motion and a second for approval of the audio-visual system at Robinson. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next up, 6.04, call up April Board of Elections. Dr. Cobb.
So this is the notice of the annual school board election, Kirkwood School District of St. Louis County, Missouri. Notice is hereby given to qualified electors of the Kirkwood School District of St. Louis County, Missouri, that the annual school board election in said district shall be held on Tuesday, the 7th day of April, 2020, commencing at 6:00 a.m. and closing at 7:00 p.m. on said day. At said election, the following will be submitted to qualified electors of the said district: to elect 3 board members of the board of directors, each to serve a term of 3 years. Qualified electors of the school district residing in the several election precincts located within the said district shall vote at polling places respectively established by the St. Louis County Board of Election Commissioners for said precincts. Only persons shall be permitted to vote in said election whose names are duly registered in the registration books of the election precinct in which they reside. In accordance with Missouri law, section 115.124, if the number of candidates who have filed for a particular office is equal to the number of positions in that office to be filled by the election, no election shall be held for said office. And The candidates shall assume the responsibilities of their offices at the same time and in the same manner as if they had been elected. By the order of the Board of Directors of the Kirkwood School District of St. Louis, Missouri, on this 18th day of November, 2019.
This is an action item.
Okay, approval? Second.
Motion second for the call of the April Board of Election. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Could I have Mr. Campbell sign this? Oh, you have it, great. You can hand it to me, or to Leslie.
I would just like to say that I am honored to serve as a Kirkwood School District board member, and I am happy to be running for re-election in that next April election.
Nice. I was sorry. I was going to open that up for the next thing, but thank you very much. Do any other board members have a statement?
Yeah, again, it's been an honor to serve as a board member for the school district. It's been a lot of hard work and a lot of learning, and it's truly been an honor. And I will run for re-election and look forward to hopefully serving again if the community elects me. Thank you.
And I will also be rerunning. It has been a lot of work, but I have learned a lot, and I love our school district. And we have a lot of exciting things coming down the line, so I look forward to rerunning as well.
Thank you all very much. Next up, 7.01, report on filing procedures for the school board game. It's Dr. Khan.
All right. So the opening date for filing for the April 7th, 2020 annual school board election is Tuesday, December 17th, 2019, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The closing date for filing for the April 7th election is Tuesday, January 21st, 2020, from 7:15 to 5 p.m. All other filing will be accepted during regular office hours, that is Monday through Friday, 7:15 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m., except for the following days. School will be closed for winter break from December 23rd through January 2nd, in observance for Dr. Martin Luther King Day on January 20th, 2020, and may be also closed due to inclement weather. The three board members whose terms expire in 2020 are Julie Backer, Chad Kavanaugh, and Jennifer Pangborn. Persons interested in filing for those positions may do so at the Office of the Superintendent of Administrative Services Center at 11289 Manchester Road. According to Missouri law, section 115.124, if the number of candidates who filed for the office is equal to the number of positions in that office to be filled by the election, no election shall be held for such office, and the candidate shall resume the responsibilities of their offices at the same time and in the same manner as if they have been elected.
Thank you very much. Next up, 7.02, governance plan update. Oh, this is for Matt Bailey, sorry.
Thank you. Just wanted to provide an update on a governance plan goal that was set a couple years ago, and it's been a continuation goal, and it will continue next year, regarding the incident rate for African American students who qualify for our gifted education program. So we have our data from last year. Last school year, we tested 189 students for gifted eligibility, and 68 of those students were found eligible for an eligibility incident rate of 38%. Of those 68 students, 20 students are students of color for a qualifying incident rate of 29%. Currently, 18.6% of our students identified as gifted are students of color, and there's a lot of numbers in here, sorry. And of that group, 21% are African American students. Additionally, African American students currently make up approximately 4% of all students identified as gifted, and 5% of our African American population are identified as students requiring gifted services, while the African American students make up approximately 9% of our district. Kirkwood School District uses a universal screening process starting in first grade. Students that meet criteria to participate in the identification process will be administered assessments that align with the categories established by Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education regarding gifted program guidelines. The areas assessed include cognitive ability, which is typically an IQ test, academic achievement, creativity, problem solving, and demonstration of gifted characteristics. In Kirkwood, we uniquely have an effort that was made to recognize the multiple ways giftedness manifests in our students, and as a further commitment to equity, have established different ways to identify students. So all students are promised from traditionally underrepresented and underserved populations in gifted programs, which could include racial ethnic subgroups, low-income students, twice exceptional students, English language learners, and students from varied geographic locations such as rural and inner city, can be identified outside of the above described criteria by a gifted specialist team when specific alternative criteria is met. When appropriate, this alternative eligibility criteria will be used by the district gifted program team of specialists to determine eligibility. And I didn't put this in here, but last year, 42.6% of our students were identified. Of that 68, 42.6 were identified using this alternative method for identifying giftedness.
Thank you, Dr. Bailey. Next, future events, 8.01. Tuesday, November 26th at 1:40 is the PEP Assembly. Wednesday, 11:27, no school for our students. Very important day. 11:27, Tilly Bowl kickoff. Also, the 11/28th, 29th is our Thanksgiving recess. The district will be closed. November 28th, 12 o'clock, Turkey Day game. Yes. And Monday, December 2nd is our next board workshop. And Monday, 12/16, December 16th is our next regularly scheduled board. Dr. Condon, is there a need for a closed session?
Yes, there is.
Roll call, please.
Aye.
Yes.
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 With that, we need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.